Nancy Pelosi is planning on doing something about the insanely high price of pharmaceutical drugs. And that sounds like it's all good. I'm in favor of lowering drug prices, but the way she's going about it is really raising alarms among progressives in the House. In fact, Representative Mark Pocan from Wisconsin, who's the co-chairman of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, likened Pelosi's plan to the Loch Ness monster, saying it has been just as elusive. So Pelosi is apparently in these backroom deals with Republicans, and she's not being transparent about it. And progressives are getting increasingly frustrated about this because they have some solutions, and they're very much worried that Democratic leadership is going to cave or concede to the desires of Republicans, which of course has happened quite a bit in the past.
Right.
So there is now an intense debate within the Democratic caucus, with the Progressive Caucus pushing for a bill authored by Representative Lloyd Doggett that it says is stronger because it would strip a company of its monopoly on a drug if the manufacturer refuses to agree to a reasonable price in Medicare negotiations. But Pelosi's approach would empower an outside third party to set the price of a drug if Medicare and the drug company could not come to an agreement. Now, here's an issue with Pelosi's proposal. Who are these individuals who take part in the third party? How do we know that they don't have ties to the drug industry, to private health insurance companies? You get the picture, right? And so it's much more powerful to strip a company of its, let's say, its monopoly over a drug than to rely on an outside group that could be corrupted the same way our lawmakers are corrupted.
This is, we're learning so much about, I think we talk a lot about the new Congress and how meaningful that is and how important that is. And I think the best thing, one of the best things that's come out of that is how transparent politics have become because of that.
Yeah.
And this is one of those gifts that this is not normal. No, it is normal, but it's not okay. Like fighting in, almost like working against the people on your team because you want what you want to go through. Like there was a part in there where she was saying, they rush these through and then last minute say, hey, you're either with us or against us. And you have no, because, essentially, yeah, I'm always gonna try my hardest to be with you, so I guess, okay. That's
exactly.
horrible.
And because your voting record is gonna be looked upon when you eventually run for president or when you run again. And so it's one of these tricky situations.
And also, the alternative, so you can't.
Right, so moderate leadership gets to say, okay, we're doing this thing, everyone fall in line. And now you have this progressive leadership that says, first of all, we're not your easy mascots. We're not going to just come around every single time you say that. Wielding that power is really important. And the fact that AOC is doing it here is really crucial. Because it shows that she understands her power and she really gets how much force she has to exert in this Congress, which is, it's fascinating and it is moving us in the right direction.
Absolutely.
I think what we didn't have before was the transparency that we're seeing today, because these deals would happen behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There would be no article written about it. There would be absolutely no news coverage on it because you didn't have members of Congress who were willing to speak out and be transparent about the secrecy with Democratic leadership. But just to give you the exact quote from AOC, she said, and this is graphic 26, we don't know things until 48 hours before. And then it's like, you're either with us or you're against us. And I just wanna ask, Pelosi and other, members of Democratic leadership, Democratic establishment, what happened to so-called unity? Because it seems like they want unity that's one-sided. They want progressives to play ball with them, but they don't want to, reciprocate. They don't want to be part of a team. They want to go ahead and meet secretly with Republicans of all people to make some sort of deal when it comes to drug prices, and then basically, shove it down everyone's throat and say, no, this is what we're gonna provide, and that's it. You don't get a say in the conversation.
I think we have this precedent in this country that we see over and over. We're gonna see it in later stories too, and it comes from, let's say it comes from the police or it comes from the Democratic establishment in this case, and it is, look, trust us.
Right.
Trust us, give us the benefit of the doubt. And the problem with that is that Americans have, or especially progressive Americans, have a very healthy distrust. And it comes from years and years of precedent being set. Okay, we have a distrust because we feel like you're gonna cave and produce something toothless. And so you need to share information with us. And if you don't, we're gonna be angry, we're gonna call it out. I'm sure AOC calling this out angers Pelosi. But you have to have some tool, you have to have some instrument to be able to fight the idea of people doing things cloak and dagger and assuming your trust when they haven't earned it.
Yeah, I mean, they arguably, not even arguably, the most famous new member of Congress is only in her seat because of acting on that distrust.
Right.
So yeah.
And finally, according to the progressives' concerns, and this is reported by The Hill, the fact that Pelosi's staff has been in talks with White House staffers for months. So not only is Pelosi working with Republicans, which, I've said this before, it's okay to push for bipartisan issues if it's genuine and for the right reasons. I mean, if you're working with Republicans for tax cuts on the wealthy, I'm not interested in bipartisanship. But if you're working with them and it's a genuine effort to lower drug prices, that's fine. But if you're doing it with White House staffers and you're doing it secretly and you're excluding progressives from the conversation, that's a giant red flag.
Sure.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah, and we know, especially when it comes to this whole impeachment issue.
I was just about to bring that up.
That there's a lot of weakness from Democratic leadership. And I certainly don't want that weakness when it comes to something as serious as lowering drug prices.
And it can't be couched in going along with things to move things forward. Right. That's not always the best solution, right? There are times where taking a stand is actually the solution that moves things faster. I think this is one of those cases, because people can't afford drugs, and that seems like a huge problem.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.